Hi guys, just doing a video of the canopy, what do you call it, the roof cover on one of these 300ZX convertibles. I've had a couple of little problems, so I thought I would share my little story and show what you have to do with right-hand drives, because from what I can gather there's a couple of different, well, there's at least one difference to the left-hand drives they get in America. Alright, here she is. The main thing you've got to do with this is to engage the handbrake, and from what I can gather, you over there, love, go on, from what I can gather, no, over there, from what I can gather, you don't have to with the American ones. Okay, watch this. Here's the button. It's the top one. Okay, when I press it, nothing. Alright, keys are off. As soon as I engage the handbrake, ready, pop. Okay, so that's what it is. You've got to engage the handbrake. Also, I find I can close them, they'll both snap in if I use enough force. I'll just check that one to see. I usually use a bit more than that. No, I didn't. It has now. Also, it won't work, even with the handbrake on, if the boot is open to any degree. It will not open. Okay, so for example, I'll pop the boot. It's not going to pop for some reason. I might have to engage. Yeah, okay, the boot's open. The boot just popped, okay. I'll bring it down, but I won't close it. But as you can see, that's pretty close. This will not pop. Nothing. It won't open, okay. It's because if they're both open together, they will hit each other. See? So I imagine the right-hand drives, the left-hand drives are the same, but I just wanted to point that out because I didn't get a manual with this when I got it. I'm going to press the button now. Boom, we're away. Hello. Stay there. It was a gorgeous little dog, little poodle.
Yeah, he's a spoodle.
Oh, okay.
Hello, precious. Hello.
Okay, so where were we? That's what I was going to say. So, when we pop this, now I had a problem with this. It wouldn't pop, even with the handbrake engaged. It wouldn't pop. So, well, what it would do, it would pop, and pop again, but it wouldn't pop the third time or the fourth time or the fifth time. And I was like, and I couldn't get anybody to have a look at it. Nobody wanted to touch it because it's a convertible. Where I live, they just weren't into it. So what happened was my subconscious brain came in, and because I had a problem with the boot light wouldn't engage. This has only done 44,000 kilometres. The boot light wouldn't engage. I took the latch out. Turns out the little lever that operates the electrode was not seized, but through lack of use, I can only assume, it wouldn't work on the spring. I had it out, I sprayed it with some silicone spray and it worked. So the light engaged. So because it was seized through lack of use, I thought, well, maybe these guys are seized through lack of use. And see in there, through that gap, that little bit of steel thing, okay, I'll try and get my finger on it. Where are we? There in deep. Well, watch it work. There's a cable, or the cable attached to that. It's pulling it. Okay, now what I concluded was mine might be seized, like a bike brake cable. I thought, mine, there's one going up in there for the tonneau lockdown. So I thought, well shit, if the boot little thingy was seized, maybe what else could be seized? And I had a look. To me that looked like it was finished, but then when I pressed the button I noticed that it moved, and I thought, oh okay, well the cables must be up in there and possibly they're seized inside the sleeve. So I got some silicone spray, I think it was. Not oil anyway, not WD-40. You want a dry lubricant, whether it's silicone spray or those dry lubes, and I angled it up inside there. And I think I might have even had a look. I had a bit of a look, but anyway, I sprayed up inside there and that did the trick. So it must have been, through lack of use, seized inside the sleeve, I'm assuming, or even if it's not inside a sleeve, the end of the cable, something was stiff. So that fixed it. So now every time I press it, it works. But you must have the handbrake engaged for that to happen. But like I say, the left-hand drive ones, you don't have to. And we all know the rest of it. This has to be pushed down. When you drop this, these little wheels have to go inside these tracks. But that's just a little detail I wanted to point out, because I couldn't get anybody to look at it. And even if they did, they may not have tackled that first. You know what I mean? When it was a simple thing. So that's that. I find if you put your hand about there, it locks both in. Now another little problem I've had with this was a squeak. Every time I'd go over bumps, you'd hear this annoying squeak like an old truck, like an old lorry truck. And it was really taking away from, you know, the oral audio, what's the word, audio aesthetics. And I think I've worked it out. I'm pretty sure it was the stand that holds the bonnet. So at the moment, I've got it out. I've taken it for a drive just to see if it is, and there hasn't been any squeaks. Mind you, the squeak used to start to happen after about 10 minutes, I think. So it's not fully conclusive. I have sprayed the two little clips. Hang on, I'll just pop it. I have sprayed the two little clips. They might be aftermarket clips. They mightn't be the right size, or maybe they are the original, but I don't know. Either way, I have sprayed them with silicone, and I'm going to put the stand back in after I get home and verify there's been no squeaks. I'm going to put the stand back in, take it for another drive, and see if the squeak has gone away still after the stand is in. If it comes back, we know for sure it's the it can only be the clips, I suppose. So I'll have to do something there. What I've done to this too is I've put in a overheating sensor. Really a good idea, I think, with these. And I've also put in a car alarm, an aftermarket car alarm, a good one apparently. See the reading on that? There we are. It's going to come up. Once you turn it on, it comes up. But the aftermarket car alarm's really good on this. He told me it was a possibly a Scorpion. That doesn't sound right, but a good one. And you can turn the sound on or off with a little key. You've got this funny little key that where's it? Oh, I've hidden the key in the car. No, where have I? Where is that? There it is. It's got a funny little thing on it. So what happens is, if I want the alarm to sound, I turn it one way. If I want to turn the sound off, but still isolate, because what this alarm does is it isolates the fuel and everything as well as the sound. At the moment I've got the sound turned off, so even when you lock the doors and everything, it won't sound, but it isolates the car. You can't start it. I've also gotten one of, this is pretty much original, except for the stereo system and the shifter. I like this too. This is cool. I love this. I want to get a new one. If anybody knows where I can get a new one of these, it'd be great. I can't see anything online. What did I come here to get? Oh, another thing. The handbrake's on the right hand side, whereas the American ones, the handbrake is there, fine, because it's out of your road. But for right hand cars, the handbrake, have a look at the angle of it. It sort of potentially digs into your thigh. It's potentially in the road. I mean, that's engaged now. I'll drop it, but it's still sort of, see how it angles to the right? I mean, it's so annoying. It wants to be on the left-hand side, not here. So you guys are lucky if you've got a left-hand drive as far as that goes. I also find, I don't know if the left-hand drive ones have the levers here, but because they're here near the seat belt, my belt sometimes gets snagged behind it when I go to pull it over myself, so that's annoying. What was I going to say when I was back over here? Yeah, everything's original except the aftermarket stereo. I'll show you the K's on the odometer, hard to believe. And I've had a look under it at the mechanics and everything, and it looks clean. Him and other people have verified, yeah, the K's are original. Here's the condition of the seat, for example. There's a little bit of scuffing there. Hop over there, love. Look at this. You know what I mean? These light up too, which is cool. I don't know if they've all got that. Something else I was going to say. But look at these guys. You know, just like new, really. Yeah, I'll show you the K's. Oh, I don't have to turn it on. Here's the K's. 44,500 kilometres. I just love this thing. If anybody knows how I can remove that without damaging the dash, please let me know. I don't want to obviously damage the dash. The previous owner, this is an import from Japan, so the first and only Japanese owner, the one and only previous owner who was Japanese, had a drink holder there. And I can't get rid of, not that I've really tried, but I don't want to damage anything. So if anybody knows what I could use there without damaging the dash, it'd be muchly appreciated. Oh, another thing I've done is this. Under here, when it rains, I do get a little bit of water leaking on both sides here. It drips. So what I've done, this is only makeshift for the moment until the next rain. I've put a little bit of self-sticking rubber here. It shouldn't have been hollow, I've just ended up with hollow on both ends, on both sides. So when I get caught in the rain next, hopefully a good rain, right, I'll see if this stops it. Because I think when this has been sitting all these years, it looks like the rubber may have been memorized to some degree with the constant pressure here. And I mean, even this groove here is quite tight. So the pressure of the roof for 30 years has pushed and squashed the gutter. Maybe it has pushed and squashed the gutter. So maybe it doesn't drain as well as it would and it overflows into here. So my little bit of makeshift rubber is going to sit here and hopefully try and do something about that. I think it's going to sit here, right here, sorry. Not over here, but I think it's going to sit right here because this shape here locks in to this shape here, and this is where it leaks. It leaks right on the very end. So I've stuck a little bit of rubber there on the top of it to fill that in the hopes, because there's no draining there, that rubber just sits in and it's been squashed. So my little bit of rubber here may solve the problem. I'll give you an update on that. That's where she drains into, I assume. Seems like a very small hole, but I guess not a lot gets in here. Maybe there's just little bits and it trickles through somewhere else. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to pass that on because obviously I sprayed both. There's only two, and they're both those little levers that disappear up inside. Okay. That is it, my fair lady. I love this thing. I've only had it for about 4 months or so, but I'm loving it, eh? I just absolutely love it. Oh, that's what I was going to say. This is the last thing I'll say about this car. Talk about feeling like a celebrity. I mean, you know how they say some cars are head turners and all that? I really know what they mean now, because this thing in this country is a real head turner. I had no idea. I cannot go anywhere with this car without people pulling up alongside of me. They're pulling up alongside of me, and it's like they've never seen one. Nobody's ever seen one. There was only about 180 made right-hand drive from what I understand, and 1,800 made left-hand drive for the States. So a lot rarer here. What did I pay? I paid $31,000 with everything, taxes and everything. And I'm really happy. And then I proceeded to get the timing belt. The timing belt and all that done. What else? The temperature gauge, things like that, new tyres. The tyres that were on it, I took off to Southeast Asia for a holiday. When I took it for the test drive, it had a bit of a whop every so often. Like they probably call it square tyres. I guess that's what it was. I didn't know that's what it was, but I said to him, can we do something about that problem? And they concluded it was the old tyres. So he said, look, while I was overseas, he said they have to be replaced because there's cracking through the rubbers. I said, hang on, you sure you had to replace them? Because they looked fine to me, they looked cool. He said, no, very fine cracks all through the tyres. So again, the original tyres probably, or maybe not original, but they're very old tyres that have been sitting on the car. So we changed those out, and that it fixed the problem. But I just love this thing. Love, love, love. And I keep it covered with a car cover. So that's a little tip for anybody. Because it's not an everyday driver. I just keep it covered with a cover. And if I get a little bit of, if I get a little spot or whatever on it, I'll just give it a little bit of a wipe. But I've had it for 4 months and I haven't had to, even a little bit of saliva there. I've had it for 4 months and I haven't cleaned it. This hasn't been cleaned once. It's just had a cover over it. And if I get a little bit of whatever in the corners, I'll just give it a bit of a wipe. But yeah, keeping a cover over a car, it's easy to do, especially if it's not an everyday driver. I really want to try and keep the Ks low. I'm absolutely positive the value of these will really, I was going to say skyrocket, but will really go up, over the coming years. So I don't want to rack up the Ks. I love the fact that the kilometres are low, It's just cool. And I don't need to drive it every day. And also, it means that when I do take it for a drive, it's a buzz, because it's not, the novelty's not wearing off. But yeah, like I said, I can't go anywhere. G'day. I can't go anywhere without people saying, oh, what's that? I didn't know. One bloke, I've come out of the car parts shop, and I see this bloke, he's approaching the back of my car. Only a young bloke, his head was tilted to the side, he's approaching the car. He sort of reminded me of a zombie. He was just absolutely baffled. That's the look on his face. And a silver. Is that what you call them? A Nissan Silvia or Silver? And he was, I mean, everybody just loves this thing. While I'm talking to that same bloke, another bloke pulls up. Well, his missus is driving him, so that means he's lost his licence. I can only assume. Well, he looked like a bloke that wouldn't have a licence. Or he looked like a bloke that had lost his licence. Anyway, his missus is... He's hopped out of the car to go into Supercheap and proceeded to tell me the motors on these are shit and that I should pull the motor out and put something else in. He said what it was. And I'm like, are you serious, man? Oh, I didn't say that, but I thought that. I said, oh yeah, no worries, mate. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll pull the motor of this out. I've got no problems with this mechanically at all. Why the hell would I start pulling motors out? So that was his 2 cents worth, which I found strange. Luckily I'm old enough not to listen to everybody these days. Somebody wants to go for a walk, so I'll give her a little run. I don't have her lead. So her lead's in the everyday driver, which is a Toyota Hi-Ace Super Custom. 4-wheel drive. I've decked it out as a camper. That's my everyday driver. I'm actually just about to go travelling around the country in Australia, so look out for some of those videos. And I also do some videos on some vlogs on contentment, you know, contentment in life, and they're called Pathways to Contentment. Check those out. I've got more on the way. So there we have it, people. Loving my Nissan and my little girl, eh? Alright everyone, take care. Another add-on, guys, in regards to the squeak. How I was saying it was the bonnet stand clips, I assume, because that's what I've sprayed. I'm yet to confirm it. It was also the position of these guys. So I've put little bits of... Where are they? Can you see that? That's only done recently, because the mechanic that helped me do it, he concluded these were rubbing on the steel. So he turned them a 180 or something. But when I went home, it seemed to fix it on the day, but a few days later I noticed the squeak, so then I've moved to this. When I was seeing him, he actually took the stand out. I put a rubber O-ring in there because the plastic housing's broken. He took it out, unknowingly thinking he'd fix the squeak here, but it was, I'm assuming, because it's still ongoing, he'd taken the stand out, but we blamed these. Meanwhile, he'd taken the stand out when we took it for the drive, to test it from memory. So either way, I've addressed both issues, or I'm addressing both issues. So I just wanted to mention that as well. One other thing, this little box has got a steel pin that goes in and out. I sprayed it too, just the pin, not the electronic parts. I'll just try and get it on focus on the camera. I sprayed it because, see? So I sprayed the end of that as well. So I'm just trying to be clear on the things that I actually did do in regards to fixing this. And also, earlier I said it'd work 1 time and 2 times and 3 times. That's not accurate either. Sometimes it wouldn't work at all. And I had to. I assume everybody knows... Trying to flip this, for fuck's sake. I assume everybody knows there's a manual release under there. So I had to use the manual release because this would not pop. Although possibly it's because I wasn't using the handbrake sometimes, but I did test it a few times before I fixed the problem. And yeah, so it wasn't working at all sometimes, handbrake on or not. So it's not that it worked 1, 2 and 3 times every time. No, sometimes it didn't work at all. So it was definitely seized, and that can happen if these sit and you've got one with low Ks. I assume they're all going to do it. So keep that in mind, okay? Alright, that is it.